and welcome to my channel, The Sun, where we're always working towards something greater. I know I'm kind of wearing the same clothes that I've worn in my last couple videos, but I am kind of just batch filming because I found that it's just easiest to do it that way because I'm always a little bit busy doing some other things sometimes. So, and I know I could change my shirt, but I guess I'm just a little lazy. I don't know. And plus, I just like this shirt. My sister got it for me, and it says, "Good things are coming." So I really like this shirt. Any hoodles. So today we're going to make a video talking about don't push yourself through emotions. It creates distrust. So we're going to be deep diving a little bit more into what that means and what I've been learning in my own life and my own experiences from that so that it can help you as well, hopefully to implement some of the same changes if you're battling some of the same things. So what am I mostly talking about in this video is kind of anxiety, feelings of stress, things like that, where we're talking about how to kind of more come into more peace with that part. If you're battling a lot of anxiety and stuff, because I know a lot of people are, and as you guys know, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I've also dealt with the same thing. I've done some spell work for trying to ease that a bit. I still do think that that's helped quite a bit. However, as I mentioned, I don't think it's something that can completely go away because it is just a normal human emotion, and you know, so it just kind of needs other ways of coping with it rather than just a spell telling it to shoo and go away. I've just mostly been learning that I don't want to push myself through emotions anymore. Why don't I want to do that anymore is because I feel like it created distrust within myself. And what I mean by that is that I didn't trust myself, and that's part of the reason I was feeling the anxiety, I believe. So I've been learning other ways to kind of work through it. I don't want to just push myself through emotional discomfort anymore just because I have to get something done. Now, there are still going to be times where, yes, I realize it's going to be needed for you to push through, and you're going to have to deal with that situation no matter what. Unfortunately, there are things with life like that, that things are just, certain things have to get done, and there's not really a whole lot of time you can wait on it and kind of baby yourself into things that even if you're feeling that anxiety, you may have to kind of push through it sometimes more than other times. And that sucks a little bit, but you know, it's kind of just necessary in life. If you can take some things with just a few moments of trying to maybe talk yourself through it in your head or breathe through it, those are good things you can do if you're kind of more in a rush kind of things. But my approach is a little bit slower, but I do believe that in time it will kind of rebuild that trust with yourself to be more comfortable with doing things. A big part of this is talking about you're kind of ignoring that side of yourself that's anxious. Sometimes I feel like we all just kind of are like, shut up. I don't care what you have to say, that side of me. I don't need to deal with that right now. I can't listen to you right now. I've just got to push through it and do this thing. You just ignore it. You don't feel like you have time for it. You don't want to try and listen to it. You go, ooh, this is bad. I don't want to be feeling this, and so I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to try and ignore it the best that I can. And that's the distrust that I'm talking about that you build with yourself at that point. Because imagine yourself on the inside, this part of you that is the anxious part. Imagine you have that two different parts of yourself, because you do. That's probably more of a intuitive side of yourself or inner child within yourself, and you're ignoring that part of yourself, and that's why it's creating distrust. It's because you've got this egotistical side that's saying, this is the task that needs done. I don't have time for distractions. That part of me that's over there crying in the corner about this happening just needs to be forgotten about, and I need to get this thing done. And even though I don't really want to do it and I'm stressing about it, that part of me over there that's crying about having to do it, wham, it's being a baby, like just get over it and do it, you know, like that's the part of distrust that I'm talking about that we need to kind of shift and change about how we handle that side of ourselves. Because I've come to realize that what that side of yourself and that anxious part of yourself really wants is a little bit of validation. It seems like that voice gets a little bit louder and louder and louder the more we ignore it. We can't just completely ignore that self and not like that part of ourself. It's still a part of ourself, and we need to be willing to be understanding and accepting of that side of ourself. I know some people say don't talk yourself through that part of yourself. Don't give it the benefit, but I find that it seems personally helpful for me, and so maybe it works for some people better than it works for other people, but it just wants to know that you're gonna be there is what I feel like happens. Is an example for me was that I needed to apply for some different jobs, that I was trying to get a different job, and I didn't really want to do it, and I was a little anxious about doing it, and just getting the first step and the first ball going with it was kind of worrisome. And so I just kind of was being anxious about it. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. I avoided it because I was anxious about it, because I was trying to self-soothe that anxious part of myself. And I made the decision that I was going to go into it prepared to fully just breathe through it and get through it on my own, prepared to basically take as much time as I needed for that side of myself to keep calming down, that if I needed to keep putting something down because I was feeling really high anxiety about it, I was just going to take a pause. There was no rush that I was in to get it done, so I was just going to sit there with myself and let myself feel it out, process the emotions as they came up, and do my best to just kind of comfort that side of myself that was anxious. Give myself some tea to kind of help make the place a little happier with it. I took my Positivity Pal in there, which I haven't made the video of yet, but it seems a little kitty, but it is a little stuffed animal that I took with me for emotional support. And it helped, it helps to have those things just kind of support yourself and process your emotions better, that rather than trying to constantly run away from it. And I found that what I think my anxious side really wanted was just understanding, knowing that I cared, knowing that I was going to listen to whatever it had to say, not basically telling that side of myself it didn't matter and to be quiet. I was just going to push through it. Like, imagine a little kid that constantly is wanting your attention because they're upset about something, and you just keep pushing them away and they're sitting there crying. Like, it's kind of what you're doing to yourself on the inside if it's upset. And that's why you create that distrust, is it's like, you're going to do all this stuff even if I don't want to do it, and you don't listen to me anyways, and so I'm just going to be upset about it. And I don't trust myself to care about what I want, and what I need emotionally. And you have to care about yourself emotionally. So if you're having the same problems, I do think that you should also see what happens if you sit with your anxiety and kind of talk yourself through it as well. Take some items for support. Make yourself a nice tea if you're having to go do something that's a little anxiety inducing, like some work or whatever it might be. Try and make it as comforting as possible. Take a stuffed animal, take a blanket, whatever makes you comfortable and makes it a little bit of a happier space. And if you can, take the time to just kind of sit there and keep taking breaks if you need to. Let it know, hey, I'm here to listen. I will be understanding if you have feelings that arise up that are uncomfortable about this. We'll talk it through. And just in doing that, I didn't really even have any problems with that side of myself. It was a lot more calm. It was like, okay, I'm more willing to do this now. And if you do have feelings that arise up from it, take a break, take a drink of your tea, cuddle with your little stuffed animal, give it a hug. There's scientific proof that giving something or someone a hug, even if it's just an object, can really kind of reduce your feelings of upset. It really kind of brings you to more of a place of just comfort. So that's why I recommend bringing something to kind of hug if you need. Or just even hug your own self. I know it sounds cheesy, but just do it. We need to know that we care about ourselves and our feelings as a whole, even the parts of ourselves that we try and ignore. So sit there with it and listen. Listen to what it has to say, and try and be like a parent to that side of yourself that's upset. Like, imagine it's kind of like a little kid within yourself, your inner child, and you're talking to that inner child saying, okay, what are you upset about? And then let it say whatever it has to say in your mind and respond accordingly. Be like, I know it's upsetting. I know I don't really want to do this. I know it's hard, and I'm sorry that it's hard. But we'll be okay. We'll be safe. We'll make it through it. It's just this we have to get taken care of. And, this is a big one of something that's important in doing this part is saying to that side of yourself why it is important. Don't just give it reasons of we'll be safe, we'll be okay. Like, those are important things to say as well, but also say, this is why we need to do it. This is why it's important to us. This is why we need to follow through with this part. I understand it's uncomfortable in the moment, and I'm sorry we feel that way, but we'll be okay. We'll make it through it. We're safe. We're fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. We can do it. And a lot of the time, you'll have to do kind of a back and forth in your mind, like you're literally having a conversation with yourself to kind of calm it down a little bit. And I'm not saying it won't totally rise up again and start getting upset again. You're going to have to keep working on this and keep doing this probably every time you get a spike of anxiety. But also doing some deep breathing and stuff to calm yourself down, taking a moment to meditate. Whatever you need to do, just kind of bring yourself back to a centered place of peace is something that has really been, for me, learning to be more comfortable with my anxiety. Because the more that you ignore that side of yourself, the more that you're just going to have that side of you that rebels and cries out louder because it's like, why does nobody care how I feel? Why does nobody listen to me? Why? Why am I just ignored? Why is my point not valid? Why do I not matter? On a core level, I believe we are all more emotional based and intuitive based than we are logic based. Logic based is something that we had to develop in order to get through life, especially the human life in existence. We have to focus and be a lot more on that logical side of our brain. And that's the part of our brain that just wants to get stuff done. It's the task doer. It's the one that's like, do this, do that, do this. This needs done. This needs that. And we as a society have kind of learned that that's the side we're in. That's the most prominent side of being. And it's made us totally push our emotional side away, that if you acknowledge your emotions, you're weak. And that's not true. It's not true that you're weak if you acknowledge your emotions, because it's still a part of yourself. You still got to acknowledge it. You still got to be understanding to it. It's not going away. Just because you ignore it and try and only be computer, just get stuff done, ignore the emotions. I only want to feel good emotions. I don't want to feel any of the negatives. We're so kind of unbalanced with our yin and yang energies, our male and female energies of being compassionate towards ourselves. We're all just go, go, go within the male energy and the ego energy. We all don't focus on our feminine side enough and our intuitive side and caring about emotions enough. And I believe that that's why a lot of the world has gotten to this point of so much depression and anxiety, is because we don't trust ourselves anymore, because we don't even acknowledge all parts of ourselves. We only want to focus on the have to do's and need to do's and logic part of it, and only want to feel good things, but we don't want to acknowledge the part of ourselves that has traumas, the part of ourselves that has upset, the part of ourselves that's uncomfortable. I think that a lot of people, if they started working on more of being more compassionate towards all parts of themselves through things like shadow work and being compassionate towards that side of ourselves that has that emotional upset, we'd all be able to find a bit more peace within ourselves as well, other than just needing therapy and anxiety pills, So it's kind of your own personal therapy, is just to try to learn how to be more compassionate towards your own inner shadows, I guess. So I hope that this video was helpful, guys, and I hope that you all are reaching for the sun, the sky, the stars above. May life be filled with happiness, light, and love. Bye!